Okay, now we're
All right.
ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Mayor's Blue Ribbon Committee on Sister Cities. Just our July meeting. We'll start off with old business. We have update on the Sister City Trust and next steps. I'll refer to you, Christine.
Yep, so our expert, Mr. Sullivan, after we had had conversations with the trustees of the trust, who wanted, as some of you know, had wanted us to go every time we wanted to take money out of the trust to go to city council for permission to do so, which Bob thought was a little onerous, given the amounts of money that we're gonna be looking for, and also the time it would take, right? So if we discover that there's someone visiting next week, we can't get on the agenda for city council, and they had other, other things like, well, you could be reimbursed, or you could be, it was just a lot of things. And Bob's feeling was, we're not talking about tens of thousands of dollars here. So after pondering it for quite a while, he feels that it would be just as effective for us to have an account in the city through finance, where we would just draw down from the account. The downside to this, and he's talked to finance, they're fine with making a Sister Cities account. The downside is if we earn interest, it goes into the city account, not into the Sister Cities. But if we're thinking that this is not gonna be an endowment.
It's a lot of money, there's not a lot of interest.
Right, so if we're gonna get, $400 a year, we're like, they can have the interest. And it would just be easier. If it turned out to be an endowment and it turned out that someone came to us and said, I adore Sister Cities, I wanna put down $20,000 to start building an endowment, we could go back to the trustees of the trust or determine something else, but this would be, in Bob's feeling, easier for the committee to handle. Just
More flexible. for
Yeah,
sure.
more flexible, just going through it.
Are there any tax deductible benefits by?
There should be, yeah, because you can do a deduction to the library. We've gone through this for things. We just got a donation from a foundation and they had to go through something. We could get documentation for it. But we had somebody in finance send a note to this foundation explaining why we are tax-free, tax deductible donation. So yes, we could get, that's a good point. We should have that available for all of us so that when we,
Right.
if people do donate and give us money, that we have that ready to send a thank you, which is what we do at the library. We'll say thank you for your $1,000 donation at the bottom,
Mhm.
but then you have to go through your tax people to determine.
And what's great about that option, which I didn't think was available, is that it's not, we were trying to avoid funds being drawn from a city account, either the city managers or the mayor's account, because we were saying this should be separate from, it's not taxpayer funds that are being used. So this lets that happen.
Exactly, and I'm not sure which fund it is, like in the library, we have Fund 01 for our operating funds, but then we have Fund 82 for donations, and we have Fund 83, and there's Fund 13. I mean, we have so many different, so I don't know if we'd have our own or if there's a place where committee monies rest.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
he's talked to finance about it and they don't have a problem.
I don't know how the Clipper Fund during COVID, Esther Kennedy and others put forward a support for small businesses. They took around bags, they did and made small donations. I don't know where the funds for that came from, but it wasn't a trust. And it wasn't the Clipper Foundation, which is all a separate thing. So it must have been a similar account within
Created for our
city
committee,
finance. Because Portsmouth 400 was a trust.
Yes, and it was, well, Portsmouth 400
And
was a
then
501c3, yeah.
That they then turned into two trusts, right?
Yeah.
Terrific. So
Yes.
he's gonna tell us all about that next time.
Correct, he can, yep, we can have him move ahead if we wanna
Yeah.
Yeah.
vote on it, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so is there any reason we can't make a motion? And
Yeah.
No, I
I'll
don't.
make a motion that we move forward with an account through finance to set up a Sister Cities account.
So move. Next.
All right. No, I don't see any
In
issue with
favor?
this. I think, especially if it's tax deductible, that's
Yeah.
good for the donors. And yeah, we're not building this to do something, interest, I don't think it should be an issue. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous? All right, next still business, Nichinan.
Yes, so you may have seen the article in the Herald a week or so ago about the 120th anniversary thing. This is the press release that was the basis for that. So there are lots of moving parts, of course. One of the parts being the mayor's office in Nishinon, and when Steve was here at our May meeting and had the little flags that were on everybody's desk at City Hall, he talked about sitting down at length and talking to the mayor of Nishinon, and that's where this announcement that the mayor and other adults were coming for the September 5th bell ringing, along with students. Well, students are no longer part of the equation. It's the mayor and 6 other adults. And when I asked my contact in the mayor's office in Nishinon, so who are the other adults? He still hasn't told me, but he sent me this with the red marking on it, this itinerary. And because there are references to connecting with the Consul General in Boston, I thought that it was possible, as often happens, that the mayor in Nishinon was talking to the Consul General in Japanese and getting things sorted out before they let us know. Well, no, apparently not.
Never assume.
Yeah, exactly. So the consulate has confirmed that they don't know anything more than what's on this paper. And what's on the schedule in red are things that I have added in because I know from experience that visitors from Nishinon are going to want to visit the shipyard and the Building 86 Treaty Room exhibit and the exhibit at the John Paul Jones House. So I've started the wheels turning with the shipyard, but in order for them to go there, they need to fill out a form and send us copies of the passports and all of that. And the clock is ticking because it's at least a month that it takes the Navy to approve that. So I sent that information to the mayor's office several weeks ago before the 4th of July. And again, I have not gotten anything back. So I will keep prodding them. In the meantime, one of the things on this schedule is a reception with the 2 mayors here at City Hall. Now, they had it scheduled in for the afternoon of Thursday, the 4th. The Nishinon people arrive in Boston on the 2nd, then they're in Boston all day on Wednesday, then they come here. And they're here Thursday, Friday. I don't know what time they arrive Wednesday night, but Thursday, Friday, and they leave on Saturday. So,
Three nights, right?
yeah.
3, 4, 5, okay. And they've got a reunion and film screening on the 3rd.
So I don't know if they're coming to that because that is happening at your place on the 3rd.
Excuse me?
We're in the Levinson room.
Okay.
So that is happening. We're having a reunion of all the people who were involved in the 100th anniversary. And I think you already told me, Mary Carey, that you got the email talking about that.
What?
Coming, that you said you were able to attend on the 3rd and the bell ringing, and I just.
Yes, but I do it at the Wentworth.
Yes, yeah, so bell
Okay.
ringing for
All
sure.
right,
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
Yes.
So Wednesday night is to be determined. Thursday, they had a schedule of Thursday afternoon. I don't know where that came from. And if this committee is going to participate along with other city councilors and others, it's your first football game.
Yeah.
So it will be better to have it in the morning on Thursday or like noontime or in the evening. So the time is flexible. What I would like to ask this committee to do, so I can get the wheels turning in the mayor's office, is make a request to host a mayor-to-mayor reception in Chambers on Thursday as the mayor's schedule permits, with some guidance, trying to avoid 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So, because as staff, I can't ask the mayor to do that. I need somebody from a counselor, for example, to make that request. So I'd like to make a motion that this committee asks the mayor to start the process for hosting a reception for the mayor of Nishinan and the rest of the adults on the 4th of September. And I'll leave the motion at that for now.
So when you say a reception,
Mhm.
we're talking about a get together? Are we talking about, again, our funds?
Yes.
Are we talking about a gift? Are we talking about a presentation? Are we talking about a breakfast? Are we?
So we're talking, I'm penciling in 10 o'clock in the morning with some light refreshments that I can get donated. The mayor may decide that that's appropriate coming out of his funds, I don't know, but there would be.
I'd like to pay for that. Pay for the reception. Thank you.
There will be an exchange of gifts. I don't know if you all have vague memories of the very modern lamps, wood lamps that are in the mayor's office.
Mhm.
They're made of OB cedar that comes from Nishinan.
Yeah.
They schlepped those over here and presented them in one of these mayor-to-mayor receptions. So,
So we need something nicer than t-shirts.
yeah, but
I get
it
what you're
doesn't.
saying.
But something light and small.
Something that,
Exactly.
That they don't have
Something
to truck back.
transportable.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
right,
So, and it needs to be, I have some ideas for that. And what we give the mayor of Nishinan might be something a little nicer than the other adults. I think one of the other adults is his assistant, who is the English speaking liaison. But that leaves 5 other people, and they often have business representatives, Chamber of Commerce people from Nishinan. So as soon as I know if that's true, Ben, I can fill you
I
in.
can play either way.
Yeah.
it's fine.
So,
So
Yeah,
seven
we have a motion.
total is, I'm just doing the
Can we have a
math.
second for the motion on the table?
Second,
Just to clarify, you were saying 5 more. Was that not including the assistant? So it's the mayor, the assistant plus 5. There's 7 adults coming. Thanks.
so I will. Relatively easy to be transported. We've used these for a number of awards and had them custom logoed and such. But there's a local woodworker that makes these
oh, yeah.
clocks that are kind of 3D prints of the harbor and I think they're reasonable. I
They're
think they
wall
come in different
clocks.
sizes. Yeah, they're roughly the size of that clock, you know, I think there's like an 8-inch, 10-inch and bigger. Then we have a big one in our conference room, but they're very reasonable. I think they're
That's
like
very
30
cool.
bucks, you know, and
Right.
would
And very Portsmouth.
very Portsmouthy, handmade locally, like
And I know they don't have that.
yeah, so that might be something to consider, and you could probably get he puts our logo on them, so we can probably have the city's seal
Mhm.
put on it, something like that. If we wanted to do that, so I'll just offer that up as a suggestion. We use them all the time and it's a well-received idea,
How long does it take to get them made?
couple weeks.
Okay, so we should,
Yeah.
I think that's a nice
can-
idea.
Can
You
I?
give the mayor one a little bigger than the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have some that have both like the tide clock in it and the regular time clock. So you could give that to the mayor or something like that. I don't know.
That's good.
I like
Yeah, I
that.
like
And it's not the tugboats. I love the tugboats, but
I know, it's, well.
they may have something to talk about.
So, okay, terrific. Yeah, I was thinking there is, the book about the treaty is Peter Randall's There Are No Victors Here. There is a Japanese translation of that book, which I think they have. And when I find the pictures I took of the gift display in Nishinan, when I was there, I will be able to tell if they already have that book. So that's kind of in the back of my head. You could give
And
them.
I would, if we wanna go crazy, I bet you he would put a little star where the treaty room
Oh,
is.
yeah.
And maybe like the hotel,
Yeah.
rooms that, you know, you could do a couple customizations to this to make it really like authentic to.
The treaty.
what we're talking about.
120th anniversary.
Yeah, he's a great local guy. He would do stuff like that.
I wonder if either for the mayor or for the group, I guess it would probably be best for the mayor, if they haven't got it already, the 101 Objects book.
They did take that to the school, but I don't remember, Steve will know, or Zach will know, superintendent. Last year, when the two of them went for the first time, I know they took one or more copies
School.
of the book, but I don't remember if it was for the school or for the
Okay,
mayor, but
yeah.
I'll find that out, yeah. Okay. Well, to be continued, although if it's gonna take, so I guess we should decide, we should get the approval from the mayor, our mayor's office to do this. And then, I guess as an amendment to my motion, there's the contingency of if the mayor is willing to have this reception, we should get the clock started, because we're not gonna have time to make that decision and do them after our next meeting.
Well,
I think we, yeah,
I'm sorry, can we just plan to do a reception and hope the mayor can be there? Is that
It's
not the
the
way we
mayor.
do it?
I mean, it's the mayor.
It's their
It's
mayor,
the
so we
mayor,
need our mayor,
mayor.
we need our mayor there. Can we get an answer from our mayor quickly?
Yeah.
I think the gifts would be given regardless, right?
Yeah.
At
Yes.
some point,
Yes.
so we can assume that there'll be gifts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
at some point, the
Hopefully they
mayor.
can-
That's what I was getting at, like,
That's
Yeah.
yeah, we don't need the reception to order the gifts, right? We do need to know where the money's coming from for the gifts, though.
We do need what?
To know where the money is coming for the gifts, and I
Right.
appreciate your helping out with that, but this is a lot, this is.
Reception, yeah.
Yeah,
So the first question is the mayor in town on September 4th?
yep,
And the second question is, would he be willing to pay for the gifts out of his budget?
yes,
Because it's a mayor to mayor gift,
correct,
so.
I'm with you on that.
So I guess if we, and however we want to formalize this request that you can ask of the mayor. Because it should come from you, not me, and
Yeah.
then we can get an answer promptly.
I can, write them a email just saying that like you've been formally requested to start planning a reception by the Sister City Committee in anticipation of the mayor, the visit.
Well,
of the-
happy-
Yeah,
We'll do the work.
yeah, no, happy to do that.
And who's making the clocks?
I forget his first name, it's the Artful Carver is his business name. And an 8-inch clock with a little desktop clock with the stand is $30. And there is a 14-inch version that is $90. So I think that would be a very reasonable, you're
Yeah.
out in and out for $400.
Can you repeat that again?
The Artful Carver?
Yeah,
So it has an 8-inch version for $30. He's very generous, like given the situation, he might just donate them or something, but so he has an 8-inch version for $30 and a larger 14-inch version for $90. So it's 180 plus 90, 270, $300 for in and out, so.
That's terrific, that's a great idea, and I love the idea of putting the star on the shipyard and Wentworth.
Yeah, I think that would be.
Yeah.
Be a nice little touch.
And so if we put the city seal on, is there a place, have you done words in addition, like
Yeah.
120th
We-
anniversary?
Yeah, we've used it for awards, so we'll have like our logo and like Small Business Leader of the Year.
Okay.
And it's all like wood, turned in with wood.
Yeah.
So it's all a laser thing that he has that he does it on, so.
Yeah.
So there's a spot between Greenland and Rye that he can.
So it should say Portsmouth Peace Treaty 120th anniversary.
Something like that with the
2020.
city feel.
Yeah. Right,
I'll talk to Jason tomorrow about possibly having the Wentworth donate these beautiful new blankets. With the Wentworth, on it. That would be nice to give them as well.
okay, because that we can nail down those details in August. Okay,
All right, so
So-
there's motion on the floor, to ask the mayor to start planning a reception for the Nishina mayor with receptive counterparts
on September 4th.
on September 4th. All in favor?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, right, unanimous. We went over the gifts, we went over. Mayor's reception gifts or lists of gifts options for future.
Yeah.
Um,
So when I was trying to remember if we had given there are no victors to the mayor before. And like the 101 objects, we should start making a list of what's available. I hadn't even thought about the clocks, those are perfect, but what we've given. And
Yeah.
so I'm willing to start that list to try to figure out what's happened before. And then we can go from there.
We talked about this a few months ago, like where's our archive for, like I can keep archives, but I'm thinking this is more digital. It would be nice if we had a place, and I can talk to Ryan about the best place for that. Because it's not the kind of thing we'd put on the website. It's tracking, it's more like
It's just more for.
folders of our
our
archives, but
reference
it would be
to-
nice if we could do it digitally too.
Yeah.
So I'll ask him about where we could.
And it could
set
be,
up.
listed as public information. I mean, someone might wanna,
Yeah, I mean, we
Know the history of the
certainly
gift store.
can, make a
Can't
list of
hurt.
what has been given.
I think that's great, but. I referenced my mother used to travel to different offices in her company and she would write down what suit she wore to each, so she made sure she didn't go to the Dallas office with the same suit every year. Or like the New York office or the Jersey office or,
That's fine.
but you know what I mean, same kind of thing, right? We don't.
I was thinking of Christmas present.
I know.
Yeah, we don't wanna give the same
Yeah.
Christmas present every year. But yeah, that's awesome. And that's something that, if you wanna start, then we can.
Yeah.
We can keep putting that on the agenda and
Yep.
if anyone, feel free to brainstorm on your own and,
Okay,
it's a collective, let's just keep throwing ideas. in the
Yeah,
mix.
just keep it
to do not expensive but not cheesy,
Yeah,
and transport.
cheapo, yeah, and transportable, right?
yeah, something that would go through customs and all that other, yeah,
Yeah,
We've gotten,
can't give
we
them
have
Jimmy Juice.
lots of books. Just you like it.
Yeah. All right.
okay.
Next we have the bell ringing, Friday, September 5th.
That's informational, if any or all of you can attend. The ceremony usually starts around 3:15. We read the governor's proclamation. The governor has been invited, whether or not she comes, I don't know. The governor usually does not come. We had Maggie Hassan came when she was governor once. I have the proclamation.
Chi Chihine coming and senator.
Yes, last year she came with the Japanese ambassador. And I always get letters from each of our congressionals. And I already was talking to Jean's office, so they have that on the radar. And I suspect we always get something from Congressman Pappas and Senator Hassan. I think it's entirely possible we'll get something from Maggie Goodlander this year as well, just because she's so proactive and she's around here all the time, so.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing, and that's, as Mary Carey does the bell ringing at the hotel with a gathering of all of the staff. But the whole thing is done in time for the bells of Portsmouth to ring at 3:47. And it's so cool when all of the church bells, because they're slightly out of sync, but you can hear North Church, South Church, St.
Yeah.
John's.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
So 3:30 is a safe time to gather.
Yeah, well, 3:15.
3:15.
By the time we get through the proclamation and any comments
And it's
That's first.
On,
on Pleasant Street in
right.
front of Piscataqua Savings.
Yeah.
Where the historic marker is.
Yeah.
And the bells ring at 3:47 and then we're done. So, depending on the schedule, obviously the Japan America Society is actively involved in this, always has been. And the group from Ishinon will be going to Concord with the Consul General because the Speaker of the House of our illustrious legislature is doing a declaration of the 120th anniversary of Peace Treaty Day and has asked for our guest list for the bell ringing. And I have said, there is no guest list. It's a spontaneous event. People just show up. So the speaker may or may not come, the consul general will come. The Nishinon folks will be there in the morning with their own transportation because the Japan Society is not going to Concord because we've got other stuff to do. So the group will get back here in time for the bell ringing on Thursday, depending on when we do the reception and the tours. The Japan Society will probably take care of hosting the Nishinon folks for lunch. So I think we're covered.
On
there.
Friday?
On Thursday.
Oh, on Thursday. Good.
I'm jumping around, sorry. So it's, the details are coming together.
Would they, I just pulled up the calendar and recognized that Friday is the day before the air show.
Yeah.
And there's usually a big party that night on the tarmac. Is that something that would be of
Sure,
interest to
well.
them or
Yeah.
attending practice of the air show? And
Yeah.
I don't know what's, I don't know, but that it's
So your party on
it's
this?
not our party, no, it's Veterans Counts and Renee Plummer's party. But I'm sure we could
I think
find
that
a
would
way
be
to-
great. I
to
mean,
help
it's,
them in that.
it's the philosophy that I firmly believe in of moving the barricades. If there's something you can do for VIP guests, that's literally when the security people are standing there with the barricade and they say, oh, it's you, and move the barricades, that makes an impression. And I think that would be really nice. You know, if it works.
I can ask.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
The 7 of them plus one of us, so 8.
Nice. So we'll have to, well, I guess getting out of Portsmouth Saturday morning is not gonna be a problem. Getting into Portsmouth.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's usually just pretty isolated to the
Yeah.
Ps. Once you're off the pace, it's.
Bethling Road exit maybe, but not.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's all of that.
All right, so next we have the student visit in October.
And
Did you know?
I was hoping that Steve would be here to tell us the specific dates. Cause he's generalized that Nishinon comes first, I think, and then Santa Cangelo, but I don't know. what
And
the
they're back
dates
to
are.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
can
think-
practically put one group on the bus and the next one's getting off, so.
yeah.
So that we have some time for and to figure out what that entails using the model from last year. I have talked to him with Nishinon about inviting, because it's the 120th, inviting the alumni of the trip to Nishinon to greet the students at the school.
This most recent trip, you mean the kids who went this year?
Anybody who's gone.
Anybody who's been to nature.
Because I have a list of everybody who's gone that he said he can compare to the Alumni Association.
Okay.
So that's great. So that'd be a nice thing
Get here, they
to
can-
do.
That'd be fun.
And again, the Japan Society may be able to help with all of that. So that's where that is. We don't know dates for either Nishinon or Santa Cruz.
Okay.
Ready? So we'll keep those on the agenda probably for next meeting as well, until we
Mm.
get more information on the dates and stuff, but just keep it on our radar. And I do want to make sure I invite the counselors to whatever, when both
Shoot.
students are in town. I think last year, I don't know if I dropped the ball on that, but I know they visited and they had some dinner, and I don't think anybody from city council showed up, so I'll try to do a better job this time.
It was an ad hoc
It was
because we didn't have
last minute.
funding from the committee to pay for a dinner. And they had quotes from various catering exercises, and it wound up that some of the teachers went out and bought deli platters. So it wasn't like a formal dinner that any of us had specifics on.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Make
Right.
that,
So that brings us down to Santa Carla. We talked about the student visit in October. Can't do anything till we know more. The lighting art.
so I don't recall if the information, so you shared the letter from the mayor of Santa Cruz to Declan about this artwork installation that a lighting artist in Santa Cruz has created for there, and he's done them around the world. And the mayor of Santa Cruz offered to donate this artwork to Portsmouth. And there is information that I think you shared around on the committee, I'm not sure, but I can share it. So the suggestion.
Like North End, Boston.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it reminded me of.
So it strikes me, and there was a little bit of discussion when the mayors were meeting a year ago about where it might go, whether,
Thank you.
Daniel Street or Market Street Extension and the old Little Italy area, whatever. Not our expertise. I would like to suggest that we follow the guidelines of the Public Art Review Committee and send it to them for their review, assessment, whatever they need, because this talks about location, safety, reviewing with the fire department, all that stuff that would need to happen before we even think about putting this thing up over the street.
Definitely not our bailiwick.
Yeah.
Is this thought to be permanent or is
That's
this
very good. That was my
annual?
question.
I
yeah.
was thinking like annually at,
My
sometime during the
sense
year that you do annually, but
that it's permanent. But
Till-
then
till
it's
the
a
lights go out.
whole,
till the lights go out, yeah.
it's a whole.
Then there's
other
the
thing.
HDC will probably
Well,
not
and that, I think
enjoy.
that's why,
Um,
you're right, that's why looking at this is like, does it qualify? Does it?
Yeah,
You
because
have to maintain it.
the old Connie Beans Center location, if I were the Warner House, I would not be terribly thrilled. I mean, it's a professionally done installation. The whole nitty gritty, what the one in Sant'Arcangelo and I think elsewhere is words from a local poet in English and Italian. So that's great. Not our decision to make.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, where does it go? What are the safety requirements? What are the power requirements? How does DPW feel about it? So I would like to make a motion that we refer this donation prospect to the Public Art Review Committee.
Sure.
I will second that.
No, I agree. There's three different aspects. There's the art review, there's the HGC, and there's the fact that this was a gift mayor to mayor, I guess. Granted, we're the sister city committee and it came through our sister city, but so in case we have any purview, we'll say this is our recommendation, I think that's good. We can check off our duties. But I don't think, you know, yeah, we can decide all we want. I don't think everyone's gonna listen to us.
And it would be nice if,
We'll put it about the fair that you just
if Mayor Sacchetti is coming in October, as I think he might be, it would be nice to have an answer for him.
Yeah.
It would, or have it up, or,
It's like
yeah.
it's been a year.
That's another thing I can ask the mayor, just like, you know, when I.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna say our recommendation is to send it to the Public Art Review Committee, he'll probably say hooray.
Yeah, okay, we'll still do that.
But can we do it like now? Cause I don't know how often they meet, but if we want to.
Yeah.
That's right. By October.
30th, I was just looking at the
Okay.
last meeting, so that, yeah,
All right, all in favor?
I,
Hi.
Aye.
It would be, I mean, I know it's too big, it would be neat if there was a park or something, that, like if we had a big park or something
Yeah.
like that that it could go into.
well, they may decide that it's a great addition to the Bohenko Sculpture Garden. I'm not sure
No,
how Terrence
yeah.
would feel about his cod being overshadowed or overlighted by whatever, not
Not our.
Yeah.
Not our
all
monkey.
right.
Alright. Excellent. Next, we have letter to Solnock Hungry.
So I got back from the mayor's office or from Joanna. A letter on our stationery, but under my name, which she thinks is. For some reason, the better way to go, saying signed by me as a member of this committee. With the letter that we all agreed to.
Okay.
So if you guys are in agreement, I will send it back and say, sure, just update the date.
Yeah.
I will sign it, cause I think she sent me a PDF.
Yeah.
Understandably. So if you're all okay with that,
Yeah,
we've already approved
make
the
a
letter
motion.
itself, but we had thought the mayor, she thinks.
Get to live.
Okay, all right.
Any second?
All
All in
in
favor?
I,
Aye, chair votes aye. Excellent, thank you.
All right,
No, and that's good, because it came from one of their staff, and so we're
correct.
answering back.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right, then we have the Portsmouth UK tour from Chamber.
Yeah, so we are planned for April, I think it's the 14th, the 19th to the 28th, is that right? Yeah, that's right.
April
April 19th to the 28th, let me make sure I have those dates right.
2026.
Yes, and we will have an information meeting on September 10th. Final location for that, but so we're just now getting flyers out and word out, so this will be a kind of a grand tour starting north to south. And it will include the last night trip to Portsmouth. From London, you'll go to Portsmouth, have an afternoon and overnight in Portsmouth, and then back to London the next day and depart to come back to the state.
as I remember, you're starting in Edinburgh, right?
I believe so, yeah, sort of a country,
So
country.
you fly into
tour.
Edinburgh and then you
Believe
work your way
so.
down to
Yeah.
Portsmouth and back and then
Yeah.
fly out of London.
Yeah, their normal tour would stop in London. They're tacking on a trip down to Portsmouth and back.
And how many people are normally on this?
There's no limit to the size, but we need to have at least 20 for it to be just us. If we sell 12, they will add other people from other places.
Totally unknown people?
Yeah, totally, total strangers.
Total non.
And they would not do the Portsmouth part, so there's like a little
Right.
upcharge that they've tacked into this price to include the trip down to Portsmouth for the hotel,
That's
bus and all that sort of stuff, so.
At what point do you think we should notify the Lord Mayor of
Let's,
the information?
yeah, let's see how numbers look, I don't wanna, like, say we're coming
And
and
then
and not
not.
have like 2 or 3 people that want to do this, so I think we can wait until after September and
Yeah.
maybe in October, cross that
Makes
bridge.
sense. Makes sense. And I mean, they always do their holiday toast. We could announce it then if we think we have more information. I mean, they don't really have to do anything. They'll have 4 months. Does that make sense? Or there really isn't
I
any
think they
reason
just
to wait?
announced to
but-
their council, hey, people are coming from Portsmouth
Yeah.
for there and
Yeah, and
I mean, if you wanna throw a party.
it
sure.
wouldn't be an official, like, official visit, but it'd be a group of, Portsmouth area folks coming to
Yeah.
say hi and,
Yeah.
be semi-official.
I think that would be fun for the holiday toast.
Yeah.
You said September 10. Let me
Yeah.
know if you want a room.
Yeah, I will do that. That might work out really well. I was gonna ask you where the senior center. Either one would work.
No, awesome, Ben. I think that's a cool thing to offer. Business owners.
Sure.
Right, well, next we have an update on Nelson, New Zealand. I did speak with my counterpart, Michael Walker over in Nelson. He's a native New Zealander. And so he has kind of stepped down and handed the committee over to the Americans living in Nelson. But Stephanie has brought me we had filled out the application for Friendship Center City.
Mhm.
And so we were gonna suggest that we vote to send this to the mayor to send to their mayor. Cause really that relationship is mayor to mayor. We've done all the legwork and dotted all the Ts,
Yeah.
or dotted all the Is and crossed all the Ts.
They get the cool pens and they sign.
Yeah, hopefully, or they just ignore it, we'll see. But no, in 2026, they're celebrating their 185th
Mhm.
anniversary, so it's kind of cool.
Cause this committee said, why don't we, because there's a formal process to be a friendship city, of
Yeah.
course, an application. Why don't we make it easy on both ends by filling out the form? They can change it,
Yeah.
but as a courtesy,
Yep.
here you go.
Send them a
And
blank sheet, like,
we just need a transmittal letter from our mayor to send, so I think that's
Yeah,
the next step.
yeah, so I'd await a motion to send this to Mayor
I make a
McCaffrey.
motion that we send this letter to our mayor and request that he forward it to the mayor of Nelson, New Zealand.
All right, do I have a second?
Second,
All right, all in favor?
Alright,
Aye, chair votes aye. Thank you, guys. And next we have new business. Next meeting review, approval of minutes from past meetings. I looked at the calendar. If we continue, we meet August 21st at 4 o'clock.
Mhm.
I think that works for me.
on vacation that week, but.
Okay.
don't-
Yeah.
Would you say August 21st?
Yeah, if that's the third Thursday in August.
Yep.
Does 4 o'clock, we still want to keep the same?
good for me. Hopefully Steve can join us.
Yeah.
And Bob.
Bob and hopefully Robert or, but yeah, if things change, we can communicate through email and. All right, and then the minutes, we didn't wanna put that on the agenda today, cause,
It's like a year and a half's worth of minutes.
yeah, yes,
Oh.
But
So-
I've got partway through all of my notes into your notes, so I'll send it to you well before.
So we can send the drafts out in advance, so you can put yourself to sleep reading them.
You're really interesting.
Yelling at everything you said, no, just kidding.
They're mini or skinny minutes,
Yeah.
as Suzanne.
I think they are to see where we.
I like to read over them, cause then it reminds me of like what we did, like
Right.
for me, I get so many meetings, I forget,
Well, that's
sometimes,
the point,
Yeah.
and we need to get them to the city clerk's office, so.
yeah.
Oops.
All right, so just expect those minutes and try to review them if you can,
Mhm.
and then we'll have that on the agenda to approve or to edit next meeting.
Super.
All right, anything else? Any other new business? Oh,
Motion to adjourn?
public comment? No? Yeah. Second,
Second.
all in favor? Thank you, Portsmouth. Thank you, guys.
Counselor.
Yeah, thank you. And